Welcome to Morning Jen, a daily show offering fresh takes on legal and political news every Monday through Friday over coffee. Let's get into it. Today we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. For the good, we have the families of the victims of the Sandy Hook shootings who asked a bankruptcy judge to immediately liquidate the business owned by InfoWars host Alex Jones. Now, you may remember that back in 2022, Alex Jones lost 2 lawsuits and was ordered to pay $1.5 billion. So what he did and his business did was to file for protection under Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. And what filing for bankruptcy protection does is it allowed him and his business to get some breathing room. And because I filed for Chapter 11, which is a reorganization, as opposed to Chapter 7, which is a liquidation, meaning the sale of assets and the shutting down of the business, because I filed for the reorganization, as part of that, he and his business were supposed to come up with a reorganization plan and a plan to pay the creditors, including these families who are owed $1.5 billion. Well, enough is enough. The families do not feel that the plan helps them. They don't feel that Alex Jones has been cooperating, and that is why they went into court. So Alex Jones is now completely freaking out. Over the weekend, as a result of them asking the judge for the liquidation, he was raging and fuming.
At the end of the day, we're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children. Just take more calls. Go ahead, there's the next person.
And I'm going to read to you one thing he said. He said, "There's really no avenue out of this." This is what he said on his Sunday show. He said, "I'm kind of in the bunker here. And don't worry, I'll come back. The enemy can't help but do this attack." Right? Totally nutso and paranoid. And then he added the most audacious thing. "These people hate our children." It is sickening. So he was freaking out over the weekend as a result of the asking the court on Sunday. And then yesterday on Monday, the bankruptcy court did not immediately order a liquidation of his parent company business, but instead said, "I need to think about it and we'll make a decision by June 14th. So we will keep our eye on that." So that was a good. The bad. The bad is bad Bob Menendez, senator from New Jersey. His term will be up in January. He said he was not going to run for re-election. Why? Because, as you may know, he is now standing trial the second time for bribery charges, different bribery charges, different people involved. So this time around, he and his wife Nadine were indicted along with several other businessmen involved in an alleged bribery scheme under which he and his wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars in payments in exchange for allegedly some official acts involving helping the Egyptian government. It's kind of a complicated story, many parts of it. Part of the allegations is that Bob Menendez helped a local businessman get the exclusive deal to export halal meat from the U.S. to Egypt. And by arranging, allegedly, for this to happen, now having the monopoly, the price of halal meat coming from the U.S. to Egypt has gone up astronomically. Allegedly, Menendez got some, or his wife got some kind of kickback. And apparently the reason why allegedly the Egyptian government was involved in this is supposedly Menendez was helping them officially through some arms sales It's complicated, but what's not complicated are the juicy details that were included in the indictment, namely gold bars as a form of payment, cash, so much cash that it was, laying around here and there in the house, apparently, stuffed in closets, stuffed in shoes, things like that. Also, payments on a new luxury car for his wife after she totaled, apparently her last one, in some kind of car accident that left the other person dead. It's a terrible story. And on top of all of this, Bob Menendez, who is in trial right now, is planning to run for re-election on the independent ticket. So today, Tuesday, is the New Jersey primary. There are several Democratic candidates vying to be the party's nominee. Similarly, there are several Republican candidates. That is happening today. Last night, however, was the deadline for him to file to be an independent candidate. Now, he has said that if he's acquitted, he will run so he can keep his seat. Well, what if he's not acquitted? If he's convicted? Well, if the guy keeps his word, presumably he will withdraw, and he has until mid-August, I believe, to withdraw in time to not be on the November ballot. Now, here's the deal. I have never been a supporter of Bob Menendez ever since his first indictment. I thought he should have stepped down. And yet, Bob Menendez, as compared to Donald Trump, Bob Menendez looks like a Boy Scout. Okay, so we have the good, we have the bad, and we have the ugly. The ugly is that these right-wing religious fanatics are coming after women in Louisiana, which is now going to be a model for the other states. So I know that yesterday we talked about Texas and the Texas Supreme Court. Well, now I need to talk about the Louisiana legislature, who has passed a law, and it will go into, and signed by the governor, and it will go into effect in October. And this law is reclassifying perfectly safe medications that are used for medication abortion anywhere from 1 day after a missed period up until only 11 weeks. And the Louisiana legislature has reclassified them as the equivalent of fentanyl. This is a complete insult. It's a travesty of justice. It interferes with good medicine. The Food and Drug Administration has already approved of these medications. Not only that, it allows a woman to end a pregnancy sometimes before it would even be viable. Only a fraction, I think if I recall correctly, around 25% of pregnancies even are viable. Not all of them come into fruition. And this should be a woman's choice. This is so important. If you really cared about allowing women to have a choice so much earlier in a pregnancy, as I said, between 1 day after a missed period to 11 weeks. This is when we had Roe versus Wade. Since the 1970s until just last year, there'd be no question that this medication made sense and was legal. It is outrageous. It is ugly. And they're also coming for birth control. So watch out. Okay. You know what you've been waiting for? I've been waiting for it too. It is time for Crazy Town. And today, I have to say that Crazy Town exists somewhere in the cranium of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yesterday, she made a mockery of the House Select Committee on the coronavirus. Now, a hearing was held, and as you know, the House is now controlled by a slim margin by Republicans, and they were holding a hearing, and a key witness there was Dr. Anthony Fauci. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to draw attention to herself. I suppose any attention, even bad attention, is something that this woman craves. So she is, as you know, representative from the state of Georgia, and she was going completely off topic, asking him questions just to insult him. And at some point she said, and you've got to hear this, she said she refused to call him a doctor. You're not a doctor, she said. So listen to this.
You think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection.
Mr. Chairman,
objection.
I reclaim my time. Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady will suspend.
Mr. Chairman,
Point of order.
just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in
Gentlelady
prison.
will suspend. The gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
Okay. That is rich. Thinking a Republican is going to insult someone by calling them a criminal when they worship Donald Trump, and lo and behold, Jamie Raskin, who I absolutely adore, congressman from Maryland, had the smartest rejoinder. Also, you got to listen to this one.
Causes of infectious diseases and then to stop them to protect the American people?
Yes, I have.
Well, Dr. Fauci, I want to join my colleague from Florida in apologizing to you that some of our colleagues in the United States House of Representatives seem to want to drag your name through the mud. They're treating you, Dr. Fauci, like a convicted felon. Actually, you probably wish they were treating you like a convicted felon. They treat convicted felons with love and admiration. Some of them blindly worship convicted felons. Is there anything else you would like to say to the American people about your service to America during the course of the COVID-19 pandemic?
My main job during the COVID pandemic was to play a role with my team at the Vaccine Research Center to develop a safe and effective vaccine. And we did that in an unprecedented short period of time, never seen before in the annals of vaccinology. As we all know, that vaccine and those vaccines have resulted in saving of hundreds of thousands of lives in the United States and millions of lives throughout the world.
Well, you have fought AIDS and HIV. You have fought COVID-19.
And it's true. And it stung. And when she was asked about it in the hallway, she was filled with denial. Don't let them deny it. It is crazy town in America. It is absolutely batty that we have a man who's been indicted 4 times, who was found guilty of 34 felonies, who owes, as I've said many times before, $500 million in civil judgment, who's an adjudicated rapist, who ran a fake university that had to settle RICO charges to the tune of $25 million. I could go on and on and on. And if you want to hear more, please read my book, Big Dirty Money. The introduction is dedicated to him. It is crazy town that he is the candidate will be the candidate for the Republican Party, that he is a leader of the Republican Party, and that people, the party who claims to be for law and order, is worshiping him. So I leave you on that note, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 8 a.m. here at Mary Trump Media. And just so you don't miss any shows, please follow Mary Trump Media. That is, of course, the home of the Nerd Avengers and of Morning Jen and of A Muslim and a Jew Walk Into a Podcast and so many more shows that we are launching. See you soon.